First video I've made in a while. I've been out of town on business. I got back. Nose was bothering me. My allergies kicked in, then I got a cold. I'm finally starting to recover and I'm feeling better after all that. Went out on my business trip. I bought several bottles. My ramblings around. This was one of them. And it's a bottom shelf. It's Old Taylor Kentucky Straight Bourbon Whiskey. Now this one has a 6-year-old stamp on it. Some don't anymore, is what I understand. And it's a 40% alcohol by volume, 80 proof. Buffalo Trace, it's a Buffalo Trace product. Now the E.H. Taylor's the premium brand you'll see in the cardboard tins. It's a E.H. Taylor. And this is kind of the lower end of all that. This is where, I guess, the starting point. And it's named, this Old Taylor, or it was named after Edmund H. Taylor. It's got his picture on the bottle there. And he's an old distiller back in the 1800s. Started like 7 different distilleries, I think it was. And the one that was most prominent was the one that was like a castle. They mothballed that in 72. Now somebody's came in, they've renovated it. I don't know if they're going to distill product there, if it's just something that they're going to send tours through. I'm unsure. But it's supposed to open this summer, and it's summer of 2017. 2009, Buffalo Trace bought the brand name from Jim Beam. This is 2017. This is a 6-year-old bourbon, 2011. And I'm going to guess this sat on the shelf for a couple of years before I bought it. Now, I may be wrong about that. I don't know. So this could definitely be a Beam bottling, because when they bought the name, they also bought all the stock that Beam had. It's interesting bourbon for what it is. I was rather surprised. This one surprised me. I'm going to call it a medium gold coloring. It is a viscous bourbon, but it gives pretty fast, thin legs. But it does clean for a second before it starts running. It's sort of oily, fairly oily. On the nose, you get vanilla caramel. A little allspice. A faint bit of coconut. Let me check my notes and see if that matches. Well, the corn. Yeah, there's the grain, the corn grain. Sometimes, sometimes that's an easy thing to forget to mention, especially with the younger bourbons, because bourbon is a corn grain-based whiskey. And a lot of times you get the corn. Now, if you've got a heavy rye, sometimes that overrides the corn. That changes the complexity of the grain. But in this one, you do get the faint corn smell and the grainness with it. And it's just an easy thing to forget to mention. But yeah, it's definitely almost like a creamed corn that's baked with the crumble in the, on top of it. It's kind of what you get. It's kind of a little sweet, but it's also a little dry, for lack of a better word. What surprised me about this is it's a balanced bourbon. What you're getting here. Now, it is a little muted in one sense of the character, that it doesn't have a lot of any one particular overriding thing other than the vanilla and the caramel does stay with this pretty well. They follow up very good. Of course, the underlying corn, I lose the coconut on the palate, but I get two other things. It's got a medium finish. It doesn't linger long, but it finishes well. No afterburn, no nothing crazy. Finishes with a little banana of all things. The brown sugar, yes. There's brown sugar and banana in the finish. It finishes rather sweet. But in the back, when you first take your sip, let me do it again. It's been open about 2 weeks and I didn't notice this the first time through. When I was a young man, I chewed leaf tobacco for a little while as a young man. All the kids were doing it. I did it too. Then I had a girl and she said, "I ain't kissing you with that in your mouth." And I decided kissing girls was a lot funner than chewing tobacco. So that was the decision I made. But I'm going to tell you, there's a faint bit of that tobacco, chewing tobacco flavor. It's not heavy, it's not dominating, but it's almost that leaf chewing tobacco. And it gets me right here in the sides, the back sides. And it's not up front, it's on the back side, but it's not in the finish with the brown sugar and the bananas. Not an overly complex bourbon, but not a bad bourbon. This is not a bad bourbon at all. I give it an 82 out of 100. Excuse me. And for $13.99, it's definitely better than some of the other ones I've tried for that price, for sure. In fact, I don't think it's too bad at all. Mixing, I'm not even going to venture there. I don't mix a lot of stuff, and when I do, I like a higher rye content when I'm making Manhattans or any sort of old fashions or anything. A higher rye content makes a better drink, in my personal opinion. But your mileage may vary there. Overall, it's a good bourbon. For the inexpensive price and for what it is, I find no fault in it. 82 out of 100, like I said. For $13.99, if you see it, grab it, try it yourself, and tell me what you think. You're not going to lose money on this deal. Not at all. With that being said, everybody have a good night. Remember, the spirit in your glass ain't running from you. Take your time, sip, and enjoy. With that said, good night, everyone.